battle through the heavens. Chapter 214. The Commencement of the Great Evolution. The icy spray of the depths still clings to his skin, even as the white flame leaves his lungs raw and hollow. He stumbles into the emerald silence of the bamboo, muscles twitching with the residue of a frantic escape. Here, the air thickens with a heavy, humid heat that catches in his dry throat, narrowing his world to a single, motionless curve of white jade.
In the bamboo forest of a singular shade of green, a soft, full, and perfect body like white jade appeared, radiating an irresistible charm that left one's throat dry. Her face was exquisite, unintentionally revealing a beauty akin to an enchantress. Her neck was long and slender, showing an elegant curve. Slowly shifting the gaze downward, a pair of full, perky breasts rose high. Perhaps due to the high temperature, a drop of water appeared on her neck and slid straight down, tracing over those smooth, full breasts before following a slightly suggestive curve and flowing further down. Her waist was slender, appearing somewhat fragile, yet within that thinness was a sense of suppleness, flat and soft without a hint of excess flesh. One look was enough to make one feel an uncontrollable impulse to reach out and touch it. Below that small waist was a purple snake tail filled with a wild stubbornness. The snake tail swayed slightly, undoubtedly projecting an exotic allure. In this small bamboo forest, this soft body that would make countless men salivate was exposed naked, providing a feast for the eyes of any lucky observer.
In the grass, Xiaoyan stared wide-eyed and slack-jawed at that naked, soft body capable of driving men mad. Naturally, an evil fire surged from his lower abdomen, turning his face crimson. After a long moment, he gritted his teeth and circulated his dou qi, suppressing the restless evil fire within his body.
This woman, she is truly terrifying.
Raising his head again, Xiaoyan only dared to fix his eyes on the heavenly flame burning in midair. He did not dare to continue looking at that beautiful, soft body full of allure, fearing that he might accidentally expose himself.
Queen Medusa is born with a kind of charm. To a man, this charm is the most potent aphrodisiac. Of course, with her current strength, that overflowing charm has reached the realm of being controlled at will. However, when she is naked like this, that charm is naturally released. Right, little guy, be careful. Above the word for lust is a knife.
Yao Lao's voice spoke out loudly and solemnly. Hearing Yao Lao's sudden voice, Xiaoyan could only give a dry laugh and nod in embarrassment.
Teacher, when do we act?
Wait a bit longer. Although she is currently placing all her attention on the heavenly flame, if she discovers your presence, she will definitely resolve a small fry like you first. Even though I can take you and escape, the heavenly flame would be...
Then let us continue waiting.
Hearing this, the corners of Xiaoyan's mouth twitched, and he fell silent again, his eyes staring unblinkingly at the empty area in the distance. The purple silk robe lay discarded on the ground. Queen Medusa slowly took a step forward, her beautiful, dreamy eyes staring at the cluster of green flames in the air. Biting her red lips, she whispered softly.
If I follow the standard cultivation methods, I do not know when I will be able to touch the door of the Douzong class. Therefore, to advance to Douzong as quickly as possible, this is the only path left.
Her slender, jade-like hands gently clenched. Queen Medusa bowed slightly toward the heavenly flame in the air, then slowly raised her head to look at the violent energy fluctuations near the city wall. A trace of coldness flashed through her beautiful eyes. She brushed a lock of hair from her forehead and said indifferently,
If the evolution succeeds, every human here today shall remain in this desert forever.
After saying these chilling words, Queen Medusa reached out with her delicate arm and tore away the purple hair tie, letting her soft, jet-black hair fall straight down. She shook her head gently, and her hair moved with the casual motion, adding a few more layers of seductive charm to Queen Medusa. Her two hands closed slightly. Queen Medusa's beautiful eyes half closed as her jade hands constantly changed into strange hand seals. The energy in the bamboo forest suddenly began to fluctuate violently. Hiding in the forest, Xiaoyan was startled by this change. His body crouched slightly, preparing to deal with any sudden situation.
What exactly is she planning to do?
The fluctuations in the bamboo forest grew increasingly violent until a massive energy vortex vaguely formed over the small island. Xiaoyan watched this change in shock, crying out in his heart.
This, I am not too sure. Queen Medusa's evolution is somewhat mysterious. I have heard of it before, but never seen it with my own eyes. However, it seems the success rate of this path is not high. Also, in other words, if she succeeds, what she will evolve into, no one can know for sure. It is almost random.
Yao Lao gave a bitter smile and said,
One point that is certain is that it will involve a snake.
Continue, ...
Hearing Yao Lao's somewhat haphazard words, Xiaoyan also shook his head and said nothing. Just as he was about to ask more, he went quiet, his gaze fixed on Queen Medusa's body, which was now enveloped in a deep-colored glow. The glow expanded continuously. A moment later, a sound like a lion's roar, yet also somewhat like a tiger's growl, vaguely echoed from within the light. Shortly after this sound, the dazzling glow suddenly surged. Under the intensity of this dazzling light, Xiaoyan reflexively shut his eyes. Opening them a moment later, he found to his shock that a giant purple snake, over 10 zhang long, was floating above the island. The giant purple snake had a slender and powerful body that carried a sense of elegance. Its pupils were light purple. It did not look at all like the cruel giant snakes Xiaoyan had encountered in the lake before. Instead, it radiated a sense of stillness and indifference. The giant purple snake slowly moved its body in the air. Its massive head turned slightly toward the chaotic city wall, and a trace of coldness flashed through its light purple eyes. On the city wall, the black-robed person floated in midair, glancing indifferently at the somewhat disheveled Hua Shar opposite them. In an instant, they seemed to sense something unusual, and suddenly turned around, their gaze fixed on a corner of the city filled with purple light. The eyes beneath the black robe narrowed as they whispered,
Has the evolution begun?
Damned humans! Once Her Majesty the Queen succeeds in her evolution, not a single one of you will escape.
Wiping the blood from the corner of her mouth, Hua Sha'er spoke chillingly.
If the evolution fails, she will vanish from this world without us even acting.
Hua Shor's threat did not cause the black-robed person any anger. Her personality seemed naturally indifferent, with very little able to cause her alarm. Such a person was like a white cloud in the sky, leisurely and cool, yet possessing the wisdom and steadiness to observe all things from above.
Furthermore, you should understand that this type of evolution has no set rules. If it succeeds, no one knows what form she will eventually take.
The black-robed person said softly.
Her Majesty the Queen will certainly succeed.
Hua Shar's expression changed, and she let out a roar. Her feet pushed off the city wall as her Dou Qi erupted, and she lunged toward the black-robed person.
Actually, I also want to see the result of Queen Medusa's successful evolution.
Watching the enraged Hua Shar charge, the black-robed person smiled and shook her head. Her hands moved, and over 10 massive green wind blades, each 10 zhang long, shot out.
This is Queen Medusa's original body?
Watching the massive purple snake in the sky with shock, Xiaoyan could not help but speak softly.
The snake people are different from humans. Shortly after they transform, they use a secret technique to pour their souls into the body of a snake-type magical beast. As their age and strength increase, this fused snake soul gradually merges with them until they are indistinguishable. After the soul fusion, when facing a strong enemy, they can summon their original body like this. At that time, their strength will skyrocket. This is the final trump card of the snake people.
Yao Lao explained in Xiaoyan's mind.
I see.
Xiaoyan nodded slightly. He raised his head, rubbing his chin and whispering.
What is she planning to do now? She isn't planning to swallow the heavenly flame in one go, is she? If she really swallows it, what do I do?
This...
Hearing Xiaoyan's question, Yao Lao was also stumped. He said helplessly,
I am not too sure. Actually, I do not think she can succeed in the evolution. The destructive power of a heavenly flame is no joke. Even though she is a Du Huang, one can imagine that resisting the heavenly flame is extremely difficult.
Xiaoyan let out a soft breath and said with a bitter smile,
We still have to wait and see. If I rush in now, I'm afraid I'll be burnt to nothingness by that violent green lotus core flame.
Correct. Be careful. If any problem occurs, be ready to run for your life immediately. Both the heavenly flame and Queen Medusa are extremely dangerous creatures.
Yao Lao reminded him. Nodding with a bitter smile, Xiaoyan raised his vigilance significantly. His eyes stared unblinkingly at the massive purple snake in the sky. The massive body turned in midair. Deep purple light erupted from within the purple snake, eventually covering almost the entire temple.
She is setting up an energy barrier. Presumably, she is afraid of Jiyu He's interference. It seems this evolution truly requires a quiet environment. She is quite unlucky to have encountered those fellows today.
Yao Lao said with a laugh.
True, but if they hadn't caused such a mess, we wouldn't have had the chance to enter.
Xiaoyan nodded and smiled. His eyes remained fixed on the sky. A second later, his expression suddenly tightened as he said in a low voice,
She's starting.
Just as Xiaoyan finished speaking, the purple snake in the sky, after circling a few times, let out a sharp hiss. It then turned its head and dove toward the cluster of green flames.
This woman is crazy. She dares to go head to head with the heavenly flame?
Seeing the purple snake's move, Xiaoyan inhaled a breath of cold air and hurriedly retreated. Under Xiaoyan's intense gaze, the giant purple snake dove down in an instant. Without any hesitation, it plunged desperately into the cluster of green flames. Right as the purple snake entered the heavenly flame, a blood-curdling, shrill scream from Queen Medusa rang out, instantly making one's scalp feel numb.